I'm Marin with SCP, and I'm going to show you how I use my blonde solutions in order to transform my client into a neutral platinum. So I'm using Blonde Solutions bleach, and I'm going to be using 10 volume, and I mix it at a 1 to 1.5 ratio because it gives me this kind of fluffy consistency with a little bit of thickness to it, so that way it will hold in place when I'm painting on fine hair. I love Blonde Solutions because it's able to lift even light hair like this, but dark hair as well, to platinum without any damage. It's super consistent, and it doesn't dry out over time. And so for me, I need a color, if my clients are processing for a long time, to sit on sometimes for 2 hours and it not dry out where I have to reapply again. For Blonde Solutions, you also have to mix it for 4 minutes. I also have one prepped and ready to go, so that way I can apply this on her ends and I don't mix it until I'm ready. And typically I like to mix anywhere from 30 grams to 40 grams and nothing more, so that way I have a fresh batch every single time. For this canvas, I'm gonna be doing a partial baby light foil and a bold money piece, and then I'll be going through with my second bowl of lightener, and I'll be popping some platinum pops on the bottom to add some more dimension and just make this feel all over lighter. And I chose 5 volume for that bowl because she's already previously lightened, and so we want to go low and slow and make sure we're not damaging her ends. And then everything on her root area, we're going to be picking up some dark pieces with the 10 volume, and that's going to sit on for a while because I'll still be having to pop pieces on the bottom as well. She's like a natural level 7 that has a lot of warmth in it, almost like a caramel. It's so pretty. So getting depth is really hard on her because her hair is so light. So adding this brighter pieces is gonna add a lot of contrast in there. And then we'll paint the face frame on at the bowl where it's really, really controlled. So normally I have my Eco Heads mixer, but I forgot to charge it, so I don't have it, so I get to mix this by hand for 4 minutes. So the easiest way that I do it is I pre-mix bowls, or like I put the powder in first, then the developer, and then I mix it as I need it, so that way it's super fresh every single time, and that's when it's its most powerful. So I'll just pull up my little phone timer and I will start it, and I just kind of mix it slow. I try not to get crazy because then it gets really messy. So I just do it pretty slow until it starts to catch. You can see it's pretty bright, and I'm not as efficient as my mixer because normally with the Eco Heads mixer, I can have this pre-mixed bowl with the lightener and the developer in, and I can just click a button and it'll start mixing for about 75 seconds while I'm still finishing up foils, and then I'll click it again before I'm finished with the bowl that I have, and then by the time I'm done I can just grab that and just swap it out, which is super convenient. But sometimes people don't want to spend money on a mixer, which I totally get. This works great, it just takes 4 minutes of your time. But sometimes it's kind of nice because you get to mix it to that perfect consistency, and sometimes the Eco Head can make it feel a little too whipped, like Cool Whip versus a little bit thicker icing. And I think consistency is very important when you're mixing, because if it's too thick, then it will dry out, and then if it's too thin, it will slide out. So that way you have a bunch of messy foils everywhere. It's starting to get a little bit brighter now. And I just use this little metal whisk I got at, I'm pretty sure it was Armstrong McCall. I noticed the rubberized ones over time just don't work as well, and this one's just kind of like my tried and true. Pretty sure we got one of these in hair school a long time ago, and just never breaks. It's amazing. I would say compared to a lot of other lighteners I've used before, this does feel the most thin, whipped feeling. Maybe fluffy is a good word, but it doesn't swell like some other brands I've used before, like Red Pen before. Their Flash Lift is terrifying. So this one's pretty, like as long as I do that small little tuck in the foil, I never have issues of slipping, which is so great. That's something I feel like I kind of learned recently. I've been playing around with it because I do have platinum clients that like really, really packed in foils, and we cannot have any slippage, otherwise it's always on somebody with very dark hair, you'll be able to see all of those cheetah spots and bleeds that are in the hairline. And that is the worst look ever. Very hard to fix. So we just don't make the mistake if we can help it. Okay, 3 minutes and 40 seconds, so we're almost done. And yes, you have to do this for every single bowl of lightener, and the reason is Blonde Solutions has a capsulized technology, so they have like capsulized pigments in there, and if you do not mix it with the recommended time, which is 4 minutes, you're gonna get little, it looks like confetti, like sprinkles all over the foil. So you'll see pink and like green and like maybe blue or something, and it looks crazy. So you just don't want it to stain the hair, especially on a blonde. That's probably not the look you're going for. So if you mix it with the recommended time, it's gonna be a consistent lift every time with no confetti sprinkles. Also, this is Blonde Solutions, one of their liquid toners in platinum. And so I pre-toned her hair and detangled all of her teas that we did on the ends. With this, and I allowed it to sit for about 10 minutes. And so what it does is it kind of just neutralizes the palette. It's a little bit different than a purple shampoo, which over time can be super drying and can grab a little bit too aggressively. So this kind of keeps it at that like neutral platinum for me, and this is one of my favorite. There are 3 other colors as well, but this is kind of my go-to one that I seem to use the most, besides the rosé one, which is their pink one, which kind of makes more of a pearly tone. But yeah, this is one of the best ones, and it smells unbelievably like Hubba Bubba gum. Don't know why, but yeah, this is one of my favorites to use on somebody who has really fine, tangly hair, and I need to balance out the canvas before I actually color melt. Yeah. Okay, so now we're just finishing up her style, but I just wanted you guys to see. This is kind of her neutral tone with some little platinum pops, just brighten up her ends. Kept it super lived in and rooted, and you can see a lot of her beautiful depth and dimension is still there, keeping it super low maintenance. And we have a lot more brightness in the front. We did all of this at the bowl and just painted it on. I rooted her with Redken Shades EQ 7N, and I let it sit for at least 15 minutes. I combed it down to blend it even more on all those baby lights that we did in her partial and the crown area right here. And then I also glossed her with Redken Shades EQ Clear, 9T, 9P, and a little bit of 9V as well. And I just kind of was looking for this like kind of neutral but still bright, not too gold and not too icy silver or white, because I think on this client's complexion, too white would kind of wash her out a little bit. So this is kind of like our happy medium. And we're just finishing up styling. And for her hair, it's so silky, so it really doesn't love to hold a curl ever. So we're just going for a very soft wave in there for texture, just so you can really see the dimension in the pictures. So I'm using the Babyless 1 1/4" curling iron, and now I'm just curling away from her face. And this is gonna really show off all this depth up here and all her beautiful pops on the bottom. So you can see that transition even in the curling iron. And I heat prepped her hair with Rawa Hydration Detangler. So it has heat protection, and someone with as fine hair as hers, it tangles as well. So you really need something with a lot of moisture to help comb it out, just so we're not brushing it out all day long. She's growing out these little front bangs she originally had, and so they're kind of into these little swoopy pieces. So I'll just add a little bit of a kick to it, but I'm not trying to like curl it. And again, we're just curling away from the face. And that's the thing too, you can still be bright in the right places without overfoiling the top closer to the root, because that will create more maintenance over time, and Kaylee doesn't want to come here every 6 weeks, so we had to make sure her hair matches her lifestyle. I think for the longest time, everybody thought platinum was just this white, icy, silvery tone, and I think there's another in-between variation, and this is more neutral, which is flattering on a lot of different skin tones. And I have a pompous decoration in my salon suite, and this is kind of what I call it, like pompous blonde or neutral platinum. It's still bright, but just not super icy silver white. And the grout is really seamless. No need for purple shampoo to maintain it. So again, her hair does not hold a curl, but tip your head back just a little. Actually, hold on, let me rotate you. Tip it back a little. We're just going for texture, so it's not pinned straight. See all these beautiful bright ribbons in here too. Super soft, super natural, seamless transition. Swing it forward. It's brighter around the front. These are those fun pops we were talking about when everybody swings their hair forward. So she'll be able to see that when she wears her hair in a ponytail or she throws it up in a bun, she'll still be able to see all those bright pieces. And that's it. Turn your head this way. Tons of depth. And it's important too, people who have fine hair, to make sure you maintain that depth, because it also tricks the eye and makes it feel like your hair is thicker than it really is. I have fine hair too, and so this is a really important element when anyone tries to highlight my hair too. Yay. Okay.